I'm Moshe Feiglin. Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight.
But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're gonna watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug. Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We are here today in Chicago, Illinois, with a visiting Israeli, and this person is a very famous and well-known person. We're going to find out a lot about him. Moshe Feiglin. Baruch haba. Welcome to Chicago. Now, for those of you viewers that don't know, Moshe Feiglin is a politician in Israel. He is a member of the Likud Party, and he is the president of Manhigut Yehudit. What is Manhigut Yehudit, first of all? What do you have to tell our viewers?
Manhigut Yehudit means Jewish leadership. It's a movement that we started after the Oslo process began, and we realized that the problem in Israel is not between the left and the right. Core of the problem is Jewish identity. In Israel, when you vote left, you get left, and when you vote right, you get left. So we realize that it doesn't matter if you get the right parties back into power after Shimon Peres and Rabin and so on. They will also continue in the same path of Oslo, because there is no real alternative to the leadership of Israel. We understood that we have to create Jewish leadership, and this is what this movement is all about. Later on, we joined into the Likud Party, and from that, I believe we'll continue.
Okay, so let me be a devil's advocate right now, if I may, as we say. Let's say that someday Moshe Feiglin was the Prime Minister of Israel. Who's to say that the President of the United States is not going to pressure you to follow the same path that Netanyahu or any preceding Prime Minister has been pressured to do by the world and by the United States and the President of the United States, due to the funding, the military gifts, and so on and so forth that come to Israel and say, listen, if you don't, then we're not, and where are we going to go from there? What makes a different movement, or a Manhigut Yehudit led by Moshe Feiglin, different when it comes to the pressures of the world and the United States and the President?
Well, first of all, it's not let's say. It's a question of when, not a question of if. It's going to happen because there is no other way. Without Jewish leadership, Israel will not survive. We believers, we believe in God, we believe that Israel will survive, therefore we'll have a Jewish leadership in Israel.
Now, when you say Jewish leadership, obviously everyone is Jewish who's been in the government of Israel. You're saying something more observant in the sense of leadership.
I'm saying a leadership of the Jewish state believes in God, believes in the Jewish goals, that believes in the Jewish heritage, that connect itself to Jewish roots.
And Torah.
Of course.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. And you'll be surprised, most of Israelis wishes to have that dream comes true. Okay? I hope we'll talk about it soon. However, about your question about the American pressure, so-called pressure, the truth is that the pressure is from inside, not from the American. I'll give you a perfect example. When Ariel Sharon came with the disengagement, horrible disengagement plan, George Bush was against it at the beginning. Do you remember?
I do.
We held perfectly against the American pressure when it came to destroy ourselves. We can also hold against it when it comes to build ourselves. We cannot build Israel upon other countries' interests. America in 1948 was totally against the establishment of Israel. Okay, when Ben-Gurion declared the independence of Israel, America actually embargoed every kind of aid or sending any kind of weapons.
But
to
didn't the
Israel.
United States vote in 1947 for the establishment?
That's right. They voted for it, and when together with Russia and other countries. But later on, when they saw that the Arabs starting a war, they reversed and were totally against the establishment of the Jewish state. You see that in every serious junction of the Israeli history, when it comes to decisions of life or death, the Americans turn their back to Israel. Every time. For example, I just gave you the example of in 48, when we were only 600,000 Jews against 7 Arab countries, America turned their back to us. Before the 6 Days War,
1967,
Lyndon Johnson put a tremendous pressure on Israel not to attack not to start the war and actually save ourselves from Egypt and Syria and Jordan, all the Arab countries who wanted to attack us as well. Israel actually went to war in 1967 against the American will, against the American threat, and Baruch Hashem won that war with no American weapon and so on. When Menachem Begin attacked the nuclear reactor of Iraq,
that was my next question.
America was against it.
Mm-hmm.
So you see again and again that when Israel dealing with reality according to its own serious interests, survival interests, fundamental interests, even when the Americans not so happy with that, they go along with that. When we're trying to please the world all the time, we're just fading away and losing our legitimacy to exist.
I understand. Okay, so I have a question for you now. Manhigut Yehudit and Moshe Feiglin, you are very popular. You are a political leader. You are a person who has a lot of followers who are supporting you, who would like to see you not only be a Chaver Knesset, not only to be an MK, but they would like to see you in a high position, possibly Prime Minister of Israel someday. My question to you is, how does the whole system work? Now, you're not in the Knesset right now, yet you are someone who many people consider to be a forerunner to be the Prime Minister of Israel. How does it work? How is the Israeli parliament set up, the Knesset, that all these parties are there and that people in Manhigut Yehudit can be movers and shakers within a Likud party when you're not even part of the Knesset? And how does that work? I know there's a central committee that's going to be voted on, people who are members in the Likud party. Please explain that all to us, because I don't think very many people know.
Yeah, it's to explain all of that, Israeli politics, you need more than a few seconds, but most likely the leaders of Israel comes from the Likud party, because most of Israelis are right-wing, most of Israelis are Jewish-oriented, observance, not necessarily dati, but traditional and so on. And that's why Likud usually win the election, and together with other smaller right-wing and religious parties form a government, and the Likud leader is in most of the cases become the prime minister. So my goal is to become the leader of the Likud party.
And that is possible.
Yes, I ran already in the Likud primaries to the leadership of the party, and I won all the candidates, the foreign minister, the educational minister, all the ministers, the defense minister. The only one I did not win yet is Benjamin Netanyahu, and I believe that Be'ezrat Hashem I'm on my way to get there and to get the leadership of the Likud party. One of the major steps on that journey is to gain as much force as you can in the central committee of the party, and this is the next stage. It's going to happen in 2 months from now. We're going to have a new central committee being elected by the entire members of the party, and we, Manhigut Yehudit, want to double the amount of our delegates in the Central Committee of Likud.
Okay, so my question for you in leading up to that I wanted to ask is, there's some kind of a fallout between you and Benjamin Netanyahu, where at one time you two were pretty close with the same goals. How did that come about, and what is your relationship with him right now?
It seems like he's afraid. Doing his best to postpone these elections. He tried everything he could. We had to go to courts, actually, to make sure that these elections will happen.
In its time.
And it's time. He tried to postpone for 2 years. It's. I feel embarrassed to even to speak about it. It's really not a democratic way of thinking, you know. However, it's going to be on time, and the fact that there's such a fear means that we're on the right way. Okay,
so let me ask you another question in the same light. There has never been a true Shomer Shabbat Prime Minister of Israel. We've had traditional people who went to shul daveners. We've had people who wear a kippah in public. We've never had a Shomer Shabbat, an observant, Torah observant Prime Minister. What makes Moshe Feiglin that person who people are going to say, we're ready for a Shomer Shabbat, Shomer Mitzvot, Torah observant Prime Minister of Israel, and Moshe Feiglin is that person? What makes you that person, and why do you think that the people are going to support you in such a way when they never have before anybody in that position?
The only reason we didn't have it until today is because no one offered it to the people.
Well, there have been people, certainly in other parties, other religious parties, and even in the Likud possibly, who were Shomer Shabbat, that nobody elected to be, running for the prime minister position. Why is it that now you think that they are going to be ready to do so?
No one ever came to the Israelis and told them, look, we did not came to Israel after 2,000 years just to create a place among the nations. I'm sure you're familiar with that title. Or State of All Its Citizens, or Singapore of the Middle East, as Shimon Peres called it. We came here to Israel to have a Jewish state. And we need a leadership that leads us towards that direction, meaning to fulfill Jewish goals. That's what it means. No one offered it to them, so they didn't have the ability to choose. This is what we bring to the picture. And a Jewish alternative. A Jewish alternative to the leadership of Israel.
Now, some of your party members have told me that you are for taking away these certain laws that have been passed in Israel, which have to do with religious restrictions to the people. Whereas it would be an interesting change in thought because, people have fought from the ultra-Orthodox parties to get these laws placed in and pushed very hard to the non-religious to support them. Laws such as laws about chametz on Pesach, having leavened things sold, and certain places that aren't allowed to be visited or used on Shabbat and holidays and so on and so forth. Why do you support taking away religious restrictive laws, and what is the positive outcome of that with the people?
There is no law in Israel that force parents to do Brit Milah to their kids, to the boys. Yet I think 99% does that. Okay? I believe that if tomorrow morning I'll pass a law that every family in Israel,
boy that's born,
if you don't give your son a Brit Milah, you go to jail. You know what will happen? You'll have like 10% that will say from now on we're not doing that. Because the Brit Milah become our culture, we need no laws. I want the not eating chametz, especially in public, become the same thing. Thinking that by force you can achieve that point is the wrong way of thinking. We believe in the people. People in Israel wants it. You just need to. You want it to come from them, not be forced from them, but come from them. When you're asking the Israelis, what are you first? An Israeli or a Jew? Over 80% answer, first of all, I'm a Jew. And then only 19% call themselves seculars in Israel. Do you know that?
Chilonim.
Yeah.
Really?
The rest of them, 50%, identify as traditional, then 20% datiim, religious, and 10% chavadim.
Very interesting.
So basically, we're talking of substantial 80% that with you. You don't need to. They don't need laws. They don't want to eat. They don't want to eat chametz in public in Pesach. What do you need laws for something that 80% would not looking to do anyhow? And the rest of the 20%, most of them does not really care, and they will not do that if they'll feel uncomfortable. I always give another example. There is no law in Israel that forces you to stand in the Memorial Day to the soldiers that were killed in the war.
Yom HaZikaron, the day before Yom HaTzmaut, Independence Day, there's an alarm that goes off. These sirens go off in the whole country, and everyone in the country, no matter where they are, with very, very few exceptions, the cars stop in the middle of the highway. The businesses, everyone stops and stand at attention. The people on the streets stop and stand still during that memorial blast of the sirens, and that's what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
And there's no law that they should do that, but they do it.
But they do because it become a culture. Mm-hmm. We want our Torah to become the Israeli culture, step by step. You do not achieve that by laws.
Very interesting. Let me ask you about Moshe Feiglin and his past. Now, you were a businessman. You had a window washing business, right? You had a business, and how did you end up in politics? I know at Oslo time, how did it all start, and how do you get a following once you end up being interested in politics? You know, if I tomorrow said, I want to run for something, people would say, who are you, maybe? Or maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they say, I want you on TV, maybe you are good. Whatever the case may be, how did you end up in politics, and how did you end up with a following, with people who really said, you're the man we want to represent us?
Well, it all began because of when the Oslo process came.
You were a young man, you still are.
Yes, I had my two businesses actually, a maintenance business and a computer company that just started, and we felt that we have to stop this terrible process of giving away our land to a bunch of terrorists. I called my friend Shmuel Saket, and together we started a group named Zu Artzeinu. We arranged for sit-down demonstrations all over the country. We actually managed to stop the entire country of Israel, the entire state of Israel, for a few hours, and we did some serious big demonstrations, obviously the biggest in the history of Israel. And one thing led to the other, and we become very well known in the Israeli public. We sat in jail for what we did, and when we finished, Netanyahu won the election and continued the same path of Oslo. And that was a serious slip on our face, because when we fought against the Oslo process, at least we did it with the name of 50-60% of the population at the time. Now it was the right wing who continued doing the same thing. So what do we do from here? And then that was when we realized that it is meaningless just to demonstrate and go from another demonstration to the other and stop traffic and go to jail and all this nonsense when you have no alternative at the end, when you don't have no light at the end of the tunnel, and you always finish again and again at square one. It's meaningless, and it is either you create an alternative or go home, go back to your business. We choose the first choice.
Very good. We are here on Taped with Rabbi Doug with Moshe Feiglin. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I'm Rabbi Jake Carson from Jerusalem.
And I'm Rabbanit Ruby Ray Carson from Jerusalem.
And you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug. Welcome back. We're here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. I'm here with Moshe Feiglin of Manhigut Yehudit. He is a member of the Likud Party in Israel, as is his group Manhigut Yehudit, and they are running for having more seats in the Likud Party in the next coming up election. And he is here in the United States talking about their views and trying to share their views with us so that we will support the idea of a Torah-observant government in Israel, which will allow the Israeli people, I believe, if I'm quoting you right, to have the choice to let Torah be part of daily life and decisions that go on in the government without forcing it upon the people, but rather with the people's support. Is that correct?
Simply creating a Jewish state. Not a state of all its citizens, not just a place among the nation, not Singapore of the Middle East, not joining the family of the nation, but being a light to the nation.
So
that is the idea.
Who is Moshe Feiglin's political model? Who is the person that you respect who's either been prime minister or in a high office of government in Israel that you look to and say, this person could have been what I'm trying to be, or I would like to be like this person and add my own philosophy to it to make this government the best it can be?
So far, there was nobody who ran to that position to be the leader of Israel, to be the prime minister of Israel in that with these goals. Not many politicians in Israel I can say that I appreciate so much. I don't agree with many of the views of Ben Gurion, but he was actually the only leader that you can really say he was a leader. I agree with most of Rabbi Kahana, Hashem Yikom Damo, views.
Now, wasn't he?
But with him, he did not run to be the leader. Here we have the lack of leadership. Here we have the lack of ideology. So basically, we're not. I don't see like a picture of a leader that I know that I would like to be like him. We have a vision. We're trying to create something new, and we're going towards that vision.
When you say Rabbi Kahana, wasn't he arrested many times and considered to be sort of an outlaw in many ways in Israel? And I understand that he had a lot of followers, and of course in the Torah world he was very respected by many. But when you come out publicly and say things like that, aren't there those who say, well, if he's going to follow him and he was, I don't want anything to do with him? Isn't it politically not always safe to say, I believe in somebody's philosophies who many people may have felt were, over the edge?
My philosophy is telling the truth, whether people like it or not. On the short run, it harms you. I believe on the long run, people looking for some substance, not just politicians that that their lips are moving and their words are meaningless. If I think something is true, I say it. And as I said, I believe most of the things Rabbi Kahana said and act were true.
Do you feel that you, in your own position, Rabbi Kahana, of course, had some enemies that we know because he lost his life. There are others who feel that they aren't safe with bodyguards and so on that travel around. Do you feel that there are those out there who hate you because of your views that put you in any danger in any way?
Of course they are, but I don't really care about that because I have a very strong feeling that I really represent the people. I believe that we, Manhigut Yehudit, are the people. We represent the big majority of the Israelis who see themselves, first of all and above all, Jews, who wants to have a proud Jewish state, who wants to know for sure that their kids will have a Jewish state as well.
Wonderful.
Today, and this is a very important thing to understand. Today we are losing Israel. Not because Israel is not strong militarily or economically or in any other aspect. But when politicians from the Israeli government, when ministers, defense minister, or Bugi Alon, for example, or even the head of the opposition, Tzipi Livni, cannot afraid to land in England or in France to be arrested as an international criminal. And on the other hand, Ahmadinejad can fly and land wherever you want. It means that Israel lost the basic justification to its existence. Mm-hmm. There's a big question mark today on top of the state of Israel. Is Israel have legitimacy to exist? The fact that that it's being questioned today is terrible, and it only happens because the leaders of Israel worked very hard for the last 62 years to convince the world we are not a Jewish state. We are just a modern Western state of all its citizens, Singapore of the Middle East. Well, if you're not a Jewish state, what gives you the right to take the land from the Palestinians, the poor Palestinians? You're just a colonial. You're the last colonialists in the world. So you're just a robber. If that's the case, let's get rid of this state of all citizens that you created. You want to have just state of all citizens? Go buy an island next to New Zealand and start your own state. So what we are talking about, a Jewish state, it's not just a privilege, playing with words. We're talking about the only way to save Israel and to make sure that your kids and my kids will have a proud Jewish state as well.
Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you, Moshe Feiglin, for being with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Remember, check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, where you can also watch our shows on the web. And if you want to contact Moshe Feiglin or Manhigut Yehudit, you can email us info@tvrabbi.com. We'll be happy to forward your questions to them, and I'm sure they'll get back to you. Once again, Moshe Feiglin, Manhigut Yehudit, and the Likud Party, I want to welcome you to Chicago and wish you much success. And maybe sometime in the future we'll have you on when maybe you're Prime Minister of Israel. I want to thank you for being with us. Hope to see you next time and each week right here on Tape with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug. Gonna see Rabbi Doug on the TV tonight.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.